Hi everyone! Let's create, appreciate, and F that hate. Welcome back to Nikkaflora. I hope you guys visited nikkaflora.com sometime and checked out chapter 1 of my new book, Should You Stay? If you haven't done so, feel free to check out my last video, which is called Announcing My First Book Ever, Should You Stay? For more information, and I'd appreciate it as well. But anyways, as for today's video, I decided to share 3 of my favorite books. Maybe not like my top 3 books, but just 3 of my favorite books in general. It's just really hard to pick a favorite one. I'll also include a link to the blog post as well in the description below if you'd like more details about the books, as well as like more of my thoughts. The blog post is also the same title as this video, which is called Here Are 3 Books That I Fangirl Over. But anyways, let's get going. For the first book, it's called Unwind by Neil Shusterman. I first read Unwind around 8th grade or the beginning of high school. I can't remember exactly. Unwind is actually one of my favorite books because the story is not only creepy, but I also liked how the author was able to portray the story from 3 different characters' perspectives, these characters being Connor, Risa, and Lev. And normally I would read books that are from a single point of view. And normally, I'm not too fond of books being portrayed from like 2 different points of views. I don't know. I feel like it would have to be a really good story for me to actually enjoy the whole thing. But yeah, I guess Unwind was pretty much like an exception to this. As for the plot, the story actually takes place in the US where a civil war was fought over abortion. As a result, the government decided to pass laws that allowed parents to order to their children to be unwound between the ages of 13 and 18. Unwound basically means like the parents, they could have their kids being sent off to like these harvest kill camps where they would obviously get murdered and then their body parts would get donated to other people. I'd say for a lot of it, it was used for medical purposes, or the parents, if they just didn't really like their children, they just send them away. Don't worry, it's fiction, but it still gives me the creeps. Whenever I read it, because the author conveyed it in a way where you can actually imagine this happening like right here in the US. Like, I wouldn't say, I'm not gonna get into that because that's like a different discussion, but the realism alone already makes it an amazing story, and that's what I really loved about Unwind. And moving further for that book, there's like this part in the book, and I think it's around the beginning, so I'm not really spoiling anything major, but sorry about that. I'm not really a big, but anyways. So it talked about how Connor was basically a bad kid. He'd always cause trouble in school, and he didn't have the best relationship with his parents. And then one day, Connor, he was basically rummaging, I think, through like his parents' drawers, and he finds 3 plane tickets. And at first, he kind of just stopped and think like, okay, maybe they misplaced the 4th ticket somewhere. But no, the tickets, they were only for the mother, the father, and his little brother, not for Connor. So basically, it kind of clicked in Connor's head, and he was just like, oh man, he's like, I'm gonna get unwound. He said, like, my parents already signed the order, and then they're gonna go on vacation to forget about it. Like, how messed up is that? But anyways, Connor, he doesn't tell his parents right away that he knew that he was going to get unwound. Instead, he actually does better in school, and he cleans up his act, which makes his parents feel extremely guilty, and they soon regret their decision. But the unfortunate thing is that like once there's an order to be unwound, like once it's signed by the parents, you can't actually reverse it, and the government goes through all means to actually go after the children. Like they even have like special ops forces going after runaway children. Like it's scary. I know it's kind of terrifying to think about this, but like that scene was just like so heartbreaking, and it made me angry when I read it. But then I loved it at the same time. It was just like, it's such an amazing story. I highly recommend you read this book, and that's kind of why I put this as like the first one for my list. Anyways, let's move on to a lighter topic. For the second book, it's called Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. My bad, I butchered the name. And this is probably one of my favorite book series so far. I actually own 4 of the books myself. For the book that I actually showed in the picture earlier, it's actually the first one in the Vampire Academy series. There's actually 6 books in total. And basically what Vampire Academy is about, it's about this girl named Rose who's half human and half vampire. Well, the official term for it in that specific series is called Dampier. You know what? I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say words, and I'm a writer. But anyways, and she's best friends with this girl named Lissa. Lissa is basically a vampire princess, and Lissa is basically a big deal in the story because she's actually the last one of her kind. I wouldn't say not the last vampire, but just the last of her bloodline. And they wield like this special magic called spirit. So just as a little bit of backstory, Rose and Lissa actually ran away from the academy and they've been on their own for 2 years. That is until they're dragged back to the academy by a group of men. And those men were actually, I'm pretty sure in the story, they were sent by like the headmaster. And I find that pretty funny thinking about like how the headmaster of the school has like their own secret service. But one of the reasons why I love this book, well, this series in general, is because Rose has such strong character development, and I notice how much more mature and selfless she becomes each time I actually read a new book in the series. I also love how Dimitri, Rose's lover, changes as well. They have really amazing chemistry. I could go on about this, but then again, this video would actually take longer than expected. But you can always check out the link in the description below for more info, because I've written other information about this as well. As for my third book, it's called Covert Game by Christine Fahan, and here's another picture to show you what it looks like. Honestly, I haven't finished reading it yet because I was occupied at the time, but I do know the plot. I'm also reading another book by her since she's actually a really good author. So, as for the plot of Covert Game, this woman Zara is a world-renowned expert on artificial intelligence, and she had a mission to wipe out a crime lord's computer network. Oh, I just heard some noise in the background. I was like, what the heck? Anyways, although she succeeded in her mission, unfortunately she's held captive by that crime lord, and she was beaten and tortured basically. That is until she's rescued by the ghost walkers, particularly this one man named Gino. And what's interesting about the ghost walkers is that they're kind of like Fahan's thing, some kind of a secret organization. And she's actually written multiple novels underneath like the Ghost Walker's name. And the thing that I liked about this book was just the intensity, and maybe that's why I didn't finish it. Maybe it was just like too much for me to handle. No, I'm just kidding. I actually did like how the author described Gino as a dark man who struggles with his inner demons. And he eventually warms up to Zara, and I feel like Zara is his light, kind of like brought him back from the darkness. It just kind of reminds me of why some people like to say like, oh, women don't like nice guys, and well, actually there's a lot of reasons as to why that quote exists, and I'm not gonna really get into that. But what really stuck out to me was just like how I think some girls feel like they just want to change a bad boy into a nice guy, and the dynamic between Gino and Zara kind of remind me of that, and yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Join the Nikkaflora fam today by visiting Nikkaflora.com and subscribe to my mailing list and my social media. Make sure to subscribe to this channel as well. Give this video a thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. And click on the notification bell so you guys don't miss out on anything. Feel free to comment down below and tell me what your favorite book is exactly. I'm curious to see what books you guys are into, and I'm always looking for new reads. I really appreciate that. But anyways, I'll be back with a video next Wednesday, so I can't wait to see you guys there. Until then, let's create, appreciate, and F that hate. Let's go, guys. Okay. But yeah. Bye, guys!